Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the leader of Uzushio? Part 1. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Once upon a time, there was a boy. He was 5 years old, but he had endured experiences any adult with the right mindset would flinch at. His name was Naruto Uzumaki. He had black hair but red tips and red highlights in his spiky hair. He had 3 whisker-like marks on his cheeks. He had eyes reminiscent of a man from long ago, which were black with violet rings and blue specks in it. He was wearing white trousers with red trims and a black shirt with the Uzumaki swirl. He had a golden locket with red, black and white thick lines swirling around out until they connect at the middle, forming a circle which form a black, white and red colored Uzumaki swirl. Currently, Naruto was running from a mob of people trying to kill the QB brat and finish the Yondaime's job. As he ran, he gripped his locket just as one of the shinobi in the crowd threw kunai and it flew through Naruto's hand. "Arg!" he screamed. "What did I ever do to you?" Naruto asked, crying. "You killed my wife, brother, child and parents, QB, don't forget the Yondaime and his wife, and you killed the Yondaime's child and replaced yourself with him after you ate him." A random man said just as he pushed Naruto. Naruto's tear which mixed with his blood dropped onto the locket. An array of seals formed on his body and a yellow flash blinded everybody present. Naruto woke up in a bright, seemingly endless, expanse of light but not blinding. He saw 2 people, but the red-headed one ran forward and hugged him. She said in one big breath. "Kasan?" Naruto asked in a hopeful voice. "Yes, I am your Kasan," she replied, crying tears of joy and happiness as well as sorrow and sadness. Before she finished, she was hugged fiercely by Naruto. As they hugged, Naruto cried until the bland walked forward and tapped the woman's shoulder. "Hello Naruto, I am your father, Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, but my secret and real name is Minato Senju, and your grandparents from my side is Madara Uchiha and Tsunade Senju. Your mother is Kushina Uzumaki, daughter of Ashina Uzumaki and Midori Uzumaki. Their birth and real name is Madara Uzumaki-Uchiha-Senju, named after you grandpa. Your grandpa and grandma will come to teach you in a year's time. You have a godfather, and he has your sister Mito Uzumaki-Uchiha-Senju who is your twin and holds the yang side of the QB. She was born a minute after you and she is not a shinobi, and she is wearing the same locket as you, and you will learn of its powers. If you need to talk to us, channel chakra into your locket. In order to survive, I want you to learn our techniques, which is the Hiraishin, Rasengan, and the 9 tails of fiery destruction which are with your grandparents. Understand?" Minato said. Naruto nodded and Minato continued, "Okay, don't forget the Uzunami Kenjutsu style of Uzushio, the summoning scrolls of the toads from your father and the phoenix, dragon and octopus summoning scrolls, and Fuinjutsu which are also with your grandparents. Your people, the Uzumaki and Senju are still alive in the real, but in hidden Uzushio. When you have become strong after the Chunin exams, release your real name and revive us with Ito Tensei. Make Konoha suffer for what they have done and protect your sister. Then take them and your family to Uzushio and take the mantle of Uzu clan head. Take only a few good friends or family, but make sure they are trusted. Also, last tip, your grandpa, Madara Uchiha is not evil and was never evil, and he was just with Hashirama as White Zetsu and Black Zetsu fought undercover, as Kagaya's will Black Zetsu or Madara as he was called tried to take over the world, and White Zetsu tried to stop him after Madara and Hashirama the real ones, made Konoha they hid underground. You hold the Yin QB, but you are not a monster, and your sister holds the Yang QB, Minato said. Then it is decided, I will train on my own until my grandparents, godfather, sister and grandma Midori come here. I will make a few friends and in the Chunin exams, I will summon you and bring Konoha to their knees, then make my way with my family to Uzushio. Konoha shall rue the day they hurt Madara Uzumaki-Uchiha-Senju, the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, son of the Yellow Flash and Red Death, legacy of Madara the Fallen Angel and Tsunade, the Slug Princess, as well as Ashina Uzumaki, the Master of Seals and Midori, the 9-bladed Demoness. From there I was born, and everybody will wish I wasn't. 1 year later, I woke up to the twilight dawns of Konoha, the birds chattering and the people all asleep. Today was the day I would finally meet my sister, Mito and my family. I got up and walked to the wardrobe and put on a gold haori with a red shirt that had a gold Uzumaki swirl. I had white trousers with golden trims, and my locket was on my neck after I had brushed my teeth and ate breakfast. I brushed my teeth again and sat in my room and started Fuinjutsu session, and created an array seal which spread across the rooms. It glowed white, then it took me to my mindscape. "Oi, citizen of my mind," I said. "Filthy, insolent human. How dare you speak to a demon capable of crushing mountains with you in it like that? Leave me be." "No, I won't, you are living in my head, oh mighty QB, and you are going to listen to me. My ancestors have both captured you, my parents sealed you into me. My other ancestors sealed you into themselves. So listen to me, you have a choice QB. Either I leave you in here and you wait till my death or your extraction, or you cooperate and you get more freedom the more trust we give into each other, and I will make a promise that I will swear and the Shinigami seal I have placed on myself. I believe you are not just a weapon of mass destruction, but that you are superior as you have feelings and emotions. So I want both of us to be content. I did not ask for your sealing in me, neither did you, but because you attacked this is where we are. I am aware you were under Genjutsu and that you never attacked of your own free will, and so I can tell you are a peacekeeper, only attacking if attacked. You can see my thoughts, clear as day. So, listen to me, I am Madara Uzumaki-Uchiha-Senju, and the Shinigami can witness and bring destruction upon those who lie on the Shinigami seal, that I only wish for your friendship. I promise on my name, my ancestors' names, my honor and dignity as well as my ancestors' honor and dignity, to always stick by what I have said and never betray, that is my Uchiha-Senju Uzumaki promise. I said, finishing with a grin and a thumbs up as the Shinigami stood over me, his sword poised over my head though I couldn't see it, only the QB could see it, as well as Minato and Kushina and Madara and Tsunade and Hashirama and Mito and Midori and Ashina, all standing behind him with a grin and a thumbs up and a hand on his shoulder. Very well, Madara Uzumaki-Uchiha-Senju, upon this friendship, I will comply, but you must know my name and history. My name is Kurama, and I am the son of Hagoromo Otsutsuki. I am a being made out of only chakra, but I am capable of everything a human or demon can. I have never had a Jinchuriki talk to me as you have, so I will show you my true form. Kurama said, as he shrank and until a man with red hair and red eyes with Madara-like hair. He had a red kimono and a navy blue haori and a red hakama and a white obi. I am really Susanoo Uzumaki, but I am Madara's ancestor, and I am directly related to you through 2 lines. I will be your brother from now on. He said as he took a step forward and Naruto disabled the gate. Naruto reached his hand out and Susanoo took it as they shook. Naruto jumped and ripped the seal off. We are family and no family of mine will be behind a cage or in a sewer. Here, let me give you a better home. Madara stretched out his hand, fire spewed out from hand, encased the whole room and burned all the water, and nobody could see until trees spouted out and encased the room and a pond formed in the middle of a clearing with a house, and a seal was burnt into a small patch of grass. Susanoo, you have full access to the outside world, and together we will be the best, and don't forget, Mito. We will take the world by storm, and I promise you, when I have settled down somewhere safe I will take you to the best places. You will be free and will only be sealed if you wish. I said, speaking with a voice so full of happiness. But I have to meet up with Mito and my family. I said. I pushed my hand out and fire encased my arm, then my whole body, and then I was gone and at the forest of death, and I walked until I saw the Uchiha, Senju, Hyuga and Uzumaki symbol engraved on a tree. I channeled my chakra into it and watched as it glowed as it only ever would if a member of all clans' chakra channeled his chakra into it, but he didn't know that. As a doorway opened in the tree like a hollow, I walked in and the floor parted and I free fell. Yeah, so cool. I screamed as I fell onto a slide. I suddenly slid into a room with dung on the floor where I would have landed, but fire encased me again and I appeared next to a girl with long black hair, again reminiscent of Madara with the red tips and highlights and a locket the same as mine. She was wearing a gold shirt and a blue haori and a red skirt. Hello, Mito, haven't ever seen, but it is nice to see you. I said, turning around and hugging her, and she hugged back. I am Madara Uzumaki-Uchiha, I said as I was interrupted. Ha, Senju. Yeah, I know bro, she said with a silky voice made from honey. Of course, you would, you are my little sis, aren't you? I replied. Well, aren't you going to give your grandparents a hug? Madara said. I walked over and shook Madara's hand, then hugged him. I always thought you were cool. I said and he smiled. I turned towards Tsunade and ran at her and gave her a monster hug, then I ran and hugged Midori. I wish I was with you guys, so many cool jutsu to show you. I spoke. I make Nin Fuin, Gen Fuin, Ken Fuin, Shuri Fuin, Nin Ken, Gen Ken and Nin Ken Fuin jutsu, those are my specialty, and I will improve a lot more. 1 year later, Mito and I are now part of each other, we bonded our minds work with a single mind, and we know each other inside out. Me and her had enrolled in the academy as latecomers and became instant friends with Sasuke Uchiha, Ino Senju and Natsumi Hyuga. Now we all have become such good friends that they know our real names and have met our grandparents. They have been trained like us and their clans as well as our grandparents, but we are better than them, but not by a lot, but in the academy, we are way better. When my spy hidden in the council informed me of the Hokage's decision to wipe out the Uchiha clan and make Itachi responsible. I went straight to Sasuke's older brother and told him to take the Uchiha clan to where I mentioned, then hide there with them, and I made promise for their freedom. Sasuke and the others were let in on the plan. Me and Mito learnt our own versions of Hiraishin and the Rasengan, and we also got our summoning scrolls. We managed to acquire the hawk, owl and snake summoning contract after we killed Orochimaru and Anko to make sure that there was only one. The snake went to Sasuke and he left for 3 months, and the owl went to Ino, and the hawk went to Natsumi as me and Mito share the dragon, phoenix and toad summoning contract, so we left for a month. We learnt the 9 tails of destruction and we perfected it. The day is the day our teams are chosen. Iruka-sensei walked into the room with Mizuki who smirked evilly as he stared at me, but I gave him a glare which made him back down and whimper like a cornered dog. I looked at Iruka as he smiled at me, and then he greeted everybody, good morn, and that's about as much as I heard until he said, Team 7 the first ever 5-person team, Naruto Uzumaki, Mito Uzumaki, Natsumi Hyuga, Ino Senju and Sasuke Uchiha, your sensei will be Kakashi Hot Aki. Team 8. Kiba Inyazuka, Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburami, your sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi Iruka said, but before he could continue, why do they have a 5-man team? Kiba asked. Because we are the best and we are all at the so-called same level and can't be split up and we can't tolerate anyone other than each other because of morons like you exist. Mito and I replied at the same time. Thank you, Naruto and Mito, but next time leave the telling off to me, next time. HN, we replied. Team 10. Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi and Sakura Haruno, your sensei will be Asuma Saratobi. It was a pleasure teaching you all, and I feel all of you becoming the best of the best generation. I wish you all the best of luck. Iruka said as he left just as Kurenai entered, wow that chick is so hot and she will be mine even if she is my sensei now. Kiba said. Kurenai looked at Kiba with a look of disgust, come with me, teammate, maybe I can teach some of you some manners. Kurenai said as she left. After everybody left, we all started creating some traps and now the classroom is a death machine. When Kakashi entered, he dodged the eraser block but tripped on ninja wire and fell onto a trapdoor which dropped him from the ceiling of the same classroom and he landed in the speaks but didn't flinch as they shimmered away revealing them to be illusions. First impression. You're smart but dumb and I will see you on the roof in 10 minutes or else. He said as he shunshined. We all shunshined to him and he had a look of surprise on his face. Tell me your name, hobbies, likes, dislikes and hopes for the future. He demanded. You first. We replied. Fine, my name is Kakashi Hot Aki, I have hobbies, I like stuff and I dislike stuff and my hopes for the future is none of your business. He said with an eye smile. All he really told us was his name. Everybody said in their head as they sweat dropped. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, my hobbies are training and pranking, I like my friends and if you prove decent you have a spot with your name, I dislike perverts, the villagers, people who judge what they don't know and those who abandon their friends and those who make fun of my family. My dream for the future is to show everybody what I am capable of. I answered. My name is Mito Uzumaki and I know I can speak for everyone else who hasn't already spoken their dreams, but mine is that of Naruto's and ours altogether is to help Naruto achieve his dream and to show everyone our true selves. I like my friends and if you prove decent, you have a spot with your name, I dislike perverts, the villagers, people who judge what they don't know and those who abandon their friends and those who make fun of or are rude to my family. Mito said. Ino, Sasuke and Natsumi all say, yeah what they said. You all have a strong connection, that's good. Meet me at training ground 7, tomorrow at 7 o'clock sharp and I suggest not to eat anything. He said as he disappeared. As we had nothing to do we all went to Ichiraku's and enjoyed a big bowl of ramen. I was walking down a path, it was uneven and meandered, it was almost as if a snake had carved this path by merely slithering to its destination. Mito was beside me as she always would be, and we ventured together, out of nowhere a snake burst through the wall and crashed into and sent me flying. Mito ran up to me, but just as she reached me, the floor collapsed and we fell down and down endlessly until I awoke with a gasp, but before I could look around and gain a sense of my surroundings, I was punched into a wall. I looked at who punched me and it was none other than Madara. You weakling, you trained with me for 2 years and then wallow around doing nothing. You deserve to die. He said and he sped towards me and I did nothing but looked at my situation in my head. Madara, my grandpa, my beloved grandpa, had betrayed me like I was a useless piece of trash. I took a few beatings from Madara and seconds for me to understand. I screamed and gripped my head and as if waiting Mito ran upstairs to see me being beat. Madara Oji, what are you doing, it's Naruto. Mito said screaming until he turned on her and hit her. How dare you, useless scum get involved and try to stop me. You deserve to die. He turned on Mito and gave her a slap down and all of a sudden, something clicked deep inside. Nobody touches Mito. I roared and I rushed forward and gave Madara a good hit to the gut. Mito looked at me with her tear-stained face, but something caught my eyes, her blood-red eyes. I twisted around to look and noticed Madara was smiling and wasn't attacking or defending. I stopped attacking, what's your play here? I asked. He grinned as the world around me dissolved. So you fell for it, well at least you gained the Sharingan in both of you. He said laughing. Don't worry, you two, it's not going to happen again just wanted to teach you some stuff before you go. He added. Kamui, he said casually and with his Sharingan active. Space and time laws defied as the spiraling vortex appeared and we were sucked into it. We are in my Kamui dimension, which is an ability of the Manjikyu Sharingan. Don't interrupt, I will teach you of the Manjikyu soon, don't worry. Kamui is like teleporting into this place, anyways here we will train and you will learn of the Sharingan's abilities. 1 Kamui year 1 minute later. So our time has finally finished. We have mastered the Sharingan's abilities and we only took 1 minute but our bodies are still used to what we did. I said. My hair had grown longer and now it reached the floor and is way spikier than before. My body was lean and was strong. Whereas, Mito had hair that reached her thighs and it was also spiky with a crimson flower in her hair. We had both developed our own taijutsu styles and we were fluent in each other's and to say we were masters would be an understatement. We could both beat Madara with our eyes closed. We also had learnt of a way to utilize our dragon, phoenix and toad sage mode to its full capabilities. We got dressed and told the others what happened as they live with us and their blood clone lives with their families. As Mito told them what to do, I visited Itachi and Fugaku because this was the last time he would see either of them for a long time. Fugaku walked to Naruto, you will be able to talk to us as I will visit often, and Itachi will be able to run in between Uzushio and here. I will miss you, but you mustn't forget to train and make sure to give Hiruzen and the elders, especially Danzo, a good right punch and a fireball on the Uchiha behalf. I hugged him and hugged Itachi and left as Sasuke walked in to say his goodbyes. He gave me a small smile before continuing on. I left towards Tsunade, gave her a hug and asked for a first aid kit. After that I collected my sword. My Fuinjutsu scrolls were moved towards their room that was connected to my Fuinjutsu scroll, which could be accessed via Fuinjutsu through my pouch. I also got my communicator scrolls and put the small note next to their ear and they went invisible. I also stocked my kunai and shuriken and we left towards training ground 7 at 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't forget, we got to train when we get there also since we are going early. I think it's safe to eat, don't you? I said. Let me guess, Ichiraku ramen. Sasuke said. Of course, Ichiraku. Mito and I said. We walked towards Ichiraku in happy vibe. Same day, 3:30. We finished eating and we decided that we were gonna train at the designated ground and set some stuff up. Hey, who is gonna help the awesome me, Naruto Uzumaki, the Obsidian Demon King, instead of training with Sasuke team? I asked in a bubbly tone, if you want I can, you are lucky the beauty queen of Konoha is gonna help you. Ino said with a flick of her long hair. The Ice Queen will help as well. Mitsumi added. The Demon Queen shall grace you all with her presence. Mito said in mock arrogant voice. Since you Naruto Baka can't do anything, the Crimson-Eyed Reaper shall help with it. Sasuke added to the conversation with a grin as we all looked at each other and burst out laughing. How about we all race to the training ground 7, okay, ready, glad we agreed, 3, 2, 1, last one there is a rotten egg. I said, not giving anyone a chance to reply and I just burst off. Ino and the others just shook their heads and sped off leaving no evidence of them being there. As I saw Mito, next to me, we held out our hands and as they touched, we were gone as we sped up so fast, gaining speed from our surrounding. We arrived at training ground 7 and 5 minutes later, the others arrived. Come, whilst we were waiting we have been scoping the area, we found out we gonna do. I led them to a huge tree which could store a human. I put my hand on it and it opened up, me and Mito went to work with seals all over the place and we stood on it, see you on the flip side. I said with a peace sign next to my face as the floor beneath fell and I was gone and I appeared in small room. I put my hands up and did a pushing gesture towards the wall and it pushed all the way back towards the clearing we were earlier and I ran there others ran with me and I put hands and pulled them down as the ground went down without a sound. I put chakra into my legs and jumped upwards and landed in the clearing from earlier and me, Mito and Sasuke activated our Sharingan and cast a strong gain jutsu over the part missing then we deactivated the Dojutsu and then Mito and I set to work with the seals to make that area seem like it is land and not just anyone fall over as soon as they walk over it. Then we all put an extreme amount of explosion seals underneath, but only half would touch Kakashi if he fell for it. Then we went back to the main room, and since the ground was slightly higher than the entrance Kakashi would not enter the tunnel system. We all set off towards different directions and towards different places. I went to the Hokage monument and office, as well as the base we live in. Natsumi went to the Hyuga clan and Nara clan, Ino went to the Senju clan library and hospital. Mito went to the Hokage office and Sasuke to the Anbu headquarters and the Naka shrine, and they all placed my surveillance seal in discrete areas, but important and my seals go invisible, and not even a level 100 seal master can detect them. These seals were connected to their Yang seal. The Yin seal will take and record information and send it to the Yang seal, which will show us what the Yin seal sees and hears and if we want to record it. I decided that gaping hole in a tree would easily give people access, so I left to go up. I went to the tree and made it so that only a person with a trio of our DNA, blood and chakra, which are fresh, can get in. I put another seal where if the tree is being attacked it will relocate itself and it will flash so bright but only we can see it. I walked down and left to the trap and I pushed my hands upwards 10 times and 10 thick walls arose and I placed an indestructible seal on them so even if goes down there again, he can't come to us. I went to the walls of the training ground as well as the trees and placed the surveillance seals so that we could see them whilst we are still in here. I gave everyone my minuscule but effective communication seal. We can all talk to each other and our clones whilst they tell us where he is. We all made shadow clones and they nodded and walked into the surveillance room to monitor everything. I put a strengthened seal on them so they would be there until I say they can be dispelled or released into life or whatever. I sat down as the others came back and we looked at the clock. It was 7 o'clock. We all walked over to the middle of the training ground where the trap lay. The sky was beautiful, its shade of brilliant blue, the small, scattered clouds now grouped but in different areas, the birds flying all about to get to their destination. 2 hours later, we had been training for 2 hours, and finally Kakashi showed up, in a burst of smoke, the gravity-defying hair of the infamous copy ninja was revealed. He was reading a orange book called Icha. I walked over to Kakashi and gave him a punch to the face whilst he still I smiled. He looked at me and then continued to I smile almost as if to infuriate me. Can you believe the nerve of this man? He walked into the middle. Your job for today is to get the 2 bells of me, whoever has a bell passes, whoever doesn't goes back to the academy. I looked at them and we looked at him. You can't be serious. We said. Oh, I am serious alright. Fine. I replied. I ran up to him and feinted a punch, but gave kick and watched as he flew back. I ran up to him so fast I left an after image of me going after him still as he turned to his left to run, he saw me with a fist just before his face. When it hit him, he burst in smoke, revealing him to be a clone. When the monitor clone said that the real one was in the forest 10 meters away, on a tree branch, I looked around and saw my teammates. Surround him and prepare our 5-sided demons of hell jutsu. I walked to 10 meters away and brought my hand to the floor as a seal array connected to the others and surrounded Kakashi. I pushed fire chakra as my end of the seal, but just the one closest to me was lit in flames. Sasuke pushed lightning into his, and our flames were mixed with lightning. Ino pushed water, and the flames grew hotter, and the lightning grew erratic. Mito pushed air and Mitsumi pushed earth, and the seal ignited. The trees burned away and columns of fire took its place. A wall of earth surrounded the area, and a fire sprung out everywhere the seal touched. Burning water was on the floor and boiling anything and everything. Lightning arced down from the sky and hit something every 5 seconds. Kakashi looked up and eyes widened, noticed his new setting, 5 demons mixed with all the elements. They may have all the elements, but there is always a predominant one. Walked in as the one with a red tint walked in with old villager-like clothing and a humongous axe, as well as 2 horns on its shoulders. It had a devilishly handsome face, but glowing red eyes. The earth one walked in with a jade armor and a jade sword, she had 2 horns on her shoulders and a helmet. The air one walked in with monk robes, and her face had a horn sticking out from the middle of her head, and she had a shikujo and a wakizashi blade with 2 horns on its shoulder, and in the cardinal points of the head. The water one walked in with a dress that was blue as well as blue skin, wonderful flowing blue hair, but a gigantic nadachi on her back. A man with a baby blue armor, reminiscent of Madara's, a gigantic gunbai on his back and baby blue long hair, which reached his mid-back. He had lightning blue eyes and yet again, a handsome face. They all took out their weapons. Kakashi started sweating and screamed as he realized he was being burnt. He ran and climbed up the wall and jumped down the other side to see the same setting as before as the demons walked like civilized people through the door. Kakashi repeated what he just did until all of a sudden the whole image seeped away and he found himself in the middle of a clearing and Naruto touching the floor, then, Kai, and he found himself falling into a pit with lots of paper. Weird he thought until he realized that those were explosive notes. The massive boom rang out and Naruto raised previously missing part of the floor to ground level and took the bells from Kakashi and as his teammates came, he cut the 2 bells into 5 pieces each and gave 2 pieces to everyone. Ino and Natsumi walked over to Kakashi and slapped him in the face. He sat up. No, Genin, don't kill me. He said in a slurred voice as he woke up and then realized who he was talking to. Aha, you have yet to get the bells from he said as he felt where the bell should have been and a sigh of relief escaped his mouth until it burst into smoke. Well since you cut the bells and you all have it, then you pass. He said regaining his hunched posture and I smile, but with his clothes and book burned. His clothes and rags and his book ashes in the woods. 3 months later, we have been at D-rank missions for 3 months, it is so freaking boring. I mean sure Tora is nice to us, considering we don't chase her with a kunai. But seriously, does ninja really mean hireable good for everything's? No. It should not and it does not. I mean, who goes and hires a ninja to babysit? Most people think of us as bloodthirsty killers who sometimes go rogue. I demand a D rank right now, as a matter of fact. I walked up to Kakashi. We have been doing useless D ranks for 3 months. Let's do a B or at least a C rank. I asked. I agree, this an absolute waste of time. Everybody agreed. This is supposed to improve teamwork. Kakashi said sagely. Yeah, well, we grew up together, trained together, learned together, beat you together, did D-rank missions together. We should be doing individual stuff because we know each other inside out, outside inside, easy peasy. I answered. I suppose that's true. As we walked towards the Hokage office, we saw Shikamaru and his team, and immediately, we all put on our cold expressions. Shikamaru walked up. Hey Bakas. Mito walked up and slapped him. Yeah, I still love you too, Mito. He replied. I walked up to him and grabbed him by the collar, and Asuma jumped down. Immediately my team surrounded me, except Kakashi. Listen up, loser, the only baka here is you. I believed you to be a decent guy and let you be friends with us. You said you loved Mito, and I left that to Mito. She trusted, I trusted you, we trusted you. You broke that trust, now look what I will do to you. Look at my sister, even be in the same room, and you will face the same punishment you will now face. Asuma jumped at Mito, who was closest to me. I darted next to her and kicked Asuma and watched as he flew through the trees. You Asuma Sarutobi are not worth my time currently. I said. I kicked Shikamaru in the face and he flew to the Hokage monument, and before he could hit my dad's face, I was behind him and Shunshin. I slapped him to the hospital. After me slapping him around, I increased the speed until the sky was darkening and lightning arced down, and using chakra, I caught the lightning and manipulated its form until it was a ball. I formed a fireball in my other hand and as Shikamaru looked at me through his swollen eyes. I cut off his toes and slammed the fireball into his stomach. Remember, citizens of Konoha, none shall touch any of Naruto Uzumaki's friends without losing a limb. I said, using chakra to demonify and make my voice louder so that all may hear. Kakashi looked at me in shock. He just unknowingly created a Chidori and finished a version of Minato-sensei's Rasengan in one fell swoop. Kakashi thought. That kid is something else. Asuma thought. Orochimaru-sama shall be pleased. Kabuto Yakushi thought. That's my one-e-chan. Mito thought. Naruto is so cool. Natsumi thought. I am so glad we are friends. Sasuke and Ino thought. I shined before gravity could pull me down. I will meet with everyone at Ichiraku's in 3 hours. I said. I found that the lightning was still there. I released my jutsu into the sky and watched as my chakra helped clear the weather. Kakashi was staring at me in shock and soon regained himself when he saw me staring back. Well, it's nice to see you have some powerful jutsu. He said. Shikamaru just fell outside the hospital and his team ran after him as Asuma gave me a murderous look. Well, let's go to the Hokage's office. I spoke. Mito and Sasuke walked next to me, while Ino walked next to Sasuke and Natsumi next to Mito. Kakashi stood behind, wondering about how to train them. As we reached outside the Hokage's office, the secretary said that he was in a meeting. As she finished her sentence, Danzo stormed out, eyeing Sasuke and Ino in particular. You may now enter. She said, giving me a nasty look. I walked ahead of everybody and Kakashi gave the mission report, if you can call it a mission. And straight after, we want any other mission other than a D rank, it might as well be E rank because you can't go any lower. We are ninja, not babysitters, painters, pet carers. I know the shinobi world is not all pink and fluffy, but you have to understand, how will we stand a chance out there when the first time we go out is when we are chunin or 14? We will be counted as threats and easy to pick off. We want a B rank. I said. The Hokage looked at my eyes. The will of fire does not burn in you, you think only of yourself, not of the village. He said coldly. The will of fire is just words, it does not protect anyone. Besides, how better to protect the village than actually doing missions for the village, because babysitting does not protect the hidden leaf. I replied. I suppose you do have a point. He said. I believe they are ready, Hokage-sama. Kakashi intervened. Well then, a mission just came in today, you will escort a man called Tazuna to the hidden waves. Do you accept? The Hokage asked. Of course, we accept, we just asked for it. I replied with an annoyed look whilst Kakashi sweat dropped. Then be hereby at the gates in 1 hour. Also, Sakura will be accompanying you so she can see how you work. The Hokage said, taking in a deep puff from his cigar. I turned around and left. We all took a deep breath and left as Kakashi turned to the Hokage. Naruto and his friends let loose a whole lot about their abilities. Kakashi said. They used this unknown jutsu on me. I don't if it was gain jutsu or not, considering the forest was burnt. I think it not. I was surrounded by fire and boiling water, there was lightning arcing down and a huge gigantic circular wall surrounding me. Through this wall, 5 demons came out, but before they could attack, I jumped over the wall, only to see the same setting as the demons went through the door. I repeated this 5 times before everything disappeared and I was standing in the middle of the clearing I just left. I saw Naruto touching the floor, then the floor I was standing on disappeared, as if it were a game jutsu, and I was staring hundreds of thousands explosive tags. He set them off and I was burned, but somehow the 2 of the genin girls healed me. After that they cut the 2 bells into 5 pieces, and each took 2 parts. That was 3 months ago. Now he saw Shikamaru, and he beat him so badly that it upset the weather, and managed a perfected version of the Yondai Maze Rasengan, and in his other hand, a version of a crossover between Rasengan and my Chidori. After he had cut off Shikamaru's toes, he threw his Chidori Rasengan into the sky and cleared the weather. Kakashi said, debriefing everything noteworthy to the Hokage. Keep an eye on them, tell me anything that needs to be told. The Hokage ordered, again releasing a puff of smoke. Meanwhile, me and the group were watching Kakashi spill the beans on everything. It is to be expected as he only just met us, and he doesn't know Naruto and Mito are his sensei's children. He doesn't have any emotional tie to us, but by the time we get back from this mission everything will be different. Mitsumi said. Well, if he is ever going to be inside our base, then he has got to get better. Sasuke said. Well, maybe we should show him that we trust him, but nobody else other than him, then he will feel like he has an obligation towards us. I added with a serious face. I doubt father would like to fight his own student, especially since this one tried to kill another of his students. I mean sure we saved Rin and protected Obito, but still Kakashi was always distant. Maybe it's to do with his father, Tsukumo Hatake. I said. 30 minutes later, I finished everything I need to do and decided to start our plan. I was waiting for Kakashi at the graveyard and hidden in a tree. Kakashi walked towards the graves for Rin and Obito. I am so sorry Obito and Rin, I wish I could have saved you then. I got my own group of kids, and I bet they would have liked you. I should have been the one to go, not you guys. I don't know if I can protect these kids. What if I fail them like I failed you? He said, asking his dead friends for advice. If you are already worried about failing, then you have failed already. I said, jumping down from the tree. Kakashi turned to look at me. What if you could have saved them? What matters is the fact that you tried. What matters is the fact that you wish you could. What if I told you, you could talk to them, tell them your regrets, would you still come here? I asked in a soft tone. Of course not, then I would have had closure, but I would come back often to talk to them, and then I could finally move on with my life. Kakashi replied. I took out 4 kunai and threw them at 4 trees, then what I tell you now must never be repeated, otherwise I and a lot of others will make you pay, millionfold. Mito and I are the children of the famed Minato Senju Uchiha, or as he is better known Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki's child. Minato Two-san is the child of Madara Uchiha and Tsunade Senju, and I can show you to them. I am and will resurrect my parents soon, although they may hold a grudge. Your father Tsukumo Hatake gave Madara his final words. I said. Today, I will heal you Kakashi, but you will stop sulking in Icha, because I know you are not a pervert, it is just a cover. I said. Your true self comes out when in battle. I said. Now for Tsukumo Hatake's final words, thank you Madara, pass it on, however you must, to my son Kakashi Hatake. I did not commit suicide, I was killed by Hiruzen's forces for being too powerful and having the potential to ruin Konoha single-handedly, so they got rid of me. Stay by Madara's side, he will be your savior. Use my Kiba blades. Discover their secrets and always remember that we will always love you. Also remember to make sure you don't die before you give me grandchildren to meet in the future. It finishes there. We have the Kiba blades and will give them to you. As for Obito and Rin, after you lightning speared her, we saved her with Tsunade's expertise and trained her, well they did, I was just a baby. They brought her to Uzushio with Obito who set out for a few months discovering himself and the world. He came back after fully developing a Dojutsu called the Rinnegan. He came back and got married to Rin, and now they have a child, and although you don't know it, you are the kid's godfather. They are now both based in Uzushio, and your house is also waiting for you. We have set up a seal that will allow them to see you. As well as come to you. Everybody is waiting, but you must remember that should you tell the bastard called Hokage about this, not even your father whom I respect will stop me. I explained. Kakashi looked at me, tears in his eyes. He got up and hugged me. He cried silently, tears of sorrow and joy mixed. He looked at me. Thank you, Naruto, I must thank you. I know have a chance have closure on my father, meet my long lost teammates and my father figure who is my sensei. He said. As we walked back to the base, built by us, we talked and we bonded and I could say I trust Kakashi. When we reached the base, the rest of the time were on guard until I nodded and they understood. They all know. I said simply. We walked to the end of an empty room except for one seal on the floor. Everybody walked to the room and I snapped my fingers and in a flash of elements we were gone. We reappeared next to Madara. Hey Gramps, meet Kakashi. I spoke. He looked at me hiding his surprise well. This is the child of Tsukumo. Very well. he said after standing and crossing his hands, but just sat back down again reading a newspaper and a cup of tea. We walked over to another empty room. I walked to the wall and placed my hand on it, and Mito and Natsumi placed their hands on my shoulders, whilst everyone placed their hands on each other. I pulsed chakra and again in a flash of elements we were gone. We were outside a compound with a Uchiha clan symbol with two fangs on the sides. I knocked on the door as Kakashi looked around. Rin opened the door with a baby in her hand. "Hello Mata-chan, you didn't say you were coming. I am sorry about that, somebody here was really looking forward to meeting you," I said. "Who?" she asked. She looked around and finally her eyes spotted Kakashi. "Obito, get over here," she said. "Kashi-kun, is it really you?" she asked, her hand on his cheek. He pulled down his mask and hugged her, albeit a little awkwardly due to the baby as Obito came into view. He paused. "Kakashi, so the first thing you do when you come to see your long-lost friend is stealing his wife?" Obito said, hair covering his eyes. He leapt to Kakashi, fist outstretched, and as Kakashi was going to cross his hands, he received a hug. "I missed you, Kakashi," Obito said. "I walked to your gravestones every day and you all were still alive. I cried there, I sat there for days. I blamed myself for your so-called deaths, and you never told me of your living state," Kakashi said for the first time with his mask off and a semi-angry look on his face. "We tried, but Madara Uzumaki said that you would probably believe you were in a dream. Besides, we wanted to bring you a 3-year-old baby and tell you ourselves," Obito said before stopping to glare at me. "That his name is Kakashi, named after you, and that you are his godfather," he said again with a glare at me. "Kakashi, I want to give you a present." Before anyone could stop him, yanked out Kakashi's normal eye and replaced it with a Rinnegan eye before placed Kakashi's eye in his eye socket. "Now you have Rinnegan set and I have a Rinnegan set, except now you can move in between them at free will. Before you go though, Kamui," he said. Kakashi was gone for basically a second, but when he came back his eye was normal. And he used his mask to cover his eye again. Rin handed the baby over to Kakashi. "Here, say hello to your godson," she said. 30 minutes later. "Also, my name is Madara and I have the Sharingan, forgot to tell you that," I said just before going back to the home base and then our base. We walked out in sunshine to the gate outside. We met up with Tazuna. "I can't believe I was given brats for protection," he said. "I can't believe you're complaining that you got genin that can handle the best in the village after you paid next to nothing," I retorted, and after that he shut his mouth like people like him are supposed to. We walked on towards his village and after 10 minutes we came across a puddle which I stabbed with my sword, after which 2 adults sprung out of, one dead, the other injured. I ran forward in a burst of speed and beheaded the other after digging a hole and throwing his body in it. We continued. 1 hour later, it was now basically nighttime, so we set up camp and lit up a few lamps, and I placed a few hundred protection seals. For me, that's so little. As we slept, I kept watch and I walked outwards. I heard Haku was out here. It was so long since I last saw him. Madara took care of him, and I grew up with him, but just as the genin exams took place, he left to go and learn the ninja ways. He became a Kiri hunter nin, but left as the Mizukage started the bloodline tyranny and he became a swordsman's apprentice. I walked until I sensed him and I flashed my chakra and he ran towards me, a boy around my height, 5'6", with his shirt off, showing his abs, long hair that reached his back, and slightly more masculine features than last time I saw him. "Who else has my chakra signature?" I asked. "Your sister." I face-palmed. "Okay, fine. How are you, what's been happening?" I asked. "Well, the swordsman I partnered with is Zabuza and he taught me a lot," Haku said. "Yeah, and I learned my dad was a Buri, so I am dual-clanned, but I have better control and I can control it better than any Buri. I can use my power in the middle of a storm as well. It turns out smoke and ice Kekkei Genkai go together nicely," he said. "Wow," I replied. "Yeah, I know. I became friends with some people and during the Chunin exams, do you want to come with us to Uzushio when the time comes?" I asked. "Of course. I feel it's time I come back and this time I will bring Zabuza with me, he is nice once you get to know him." So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video.